What's up, everybody? Golficity live for November 14th. This is our segment where we wrap up everything that's going on around Golficity for the week. There's come some topics I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Hero World Challenge. I want to talk about this week's podcast episode. I want to get Mike's take on those beautiful new Bridgestone wedges that I see there in the bag. Mike, what's going on?
Not too much, man. How are things?
Things are good, dude.
Yeah?
I see that. Let's just get a quick preview. I see that wedge peeking out.
Yeah, you want me to pull that out? We've been waiting all night to see these. All right, so check it out.
That's been the news all day. Everybody's been talking about these new Bridgestones.
I've got these in the bag for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks now, and I couldn't even talk about them until today. We had to honor that. So here they are, the new forged Bridgestone XW1. Beautiful, beautiful wedges. Awesome feel. Loving the shaft on these. These spinner shafts with the Golf Pride grips. My favorite grips right here. Also have the other finish for the 56 degree. Frank, these are great.
Yeah, I like that
finish
black.
on this. Let me get this into the camera a little bit better. As you can see, I put a lot of work in with this one already. Great clubs, great feel. I did a whole write-up today. Launched it on Golficity, talked about the performance. My short game has certainly improved, and it's so funny. I mean, not many people would know the difference, like between a wedge. An amateur golfer, a wedge is a wedge is a wedge. Like I was saying with a putter or whatever. But let me tell you
going
something.
from one brand to the next.
Yeah, or just going from one brand or feel, or feels a little heavier. This is the right wedge for my game. The wedge I've been playing, I don't think it was, because I went back to the other one. It's funny. I went to the range not too long ago and I tried them both for the review. Just much better feel. And I know you've picked this thing up and you loved it the minute you picked it up. I mean, it's just a great wedge. And I said in my write-up, it's right up there, in my opinion, with the Vokeys and the other big names out there. I mean, Bridgestone really nailed it here. So these are pretty solid.
Yeah, great stuff. And like I said, that's been kind of hitting the web everywhere. There you are. There's your review. I can tell how much you like that wedge, man.
Yeah, that was my mustache right there. I remember that. That's the first day I used them. I think that was probably on the first or second hole that I've ever used it. And I had to capture that moment because my short game was on point that day. And since then, I'm hoping it's the wedges. It'd be pretty interesting if it was actually the wedges. But seriously, the feel and everything that I'm getting around the green, getting out of greenside bunkers. I'm even getting spin. I never got spin before. So a lot of weird things are happening. It goes to show you what a good wedge will do for your game.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'd be kissing it too if it can get me out of the bunkers. Right now, my sand game is just junk. It's garbage.
Yeah.
But anyway, one thing that's been getting a little better is my mental game. I've been working on that. But that was a great episode this week, the podcast. If you guys haven't had a chance to check it out yet, definitely tune into the podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Stitcher. It's everywhere. New episodes drop every Sunday. This week, we had a great episode. We had Steve Wharton on the show. He's the author of Golf in the High Zone. You can see Mike. I'm already bookmarking a couple things that I've got to come back to.
Through that, huh?
That's right. I got to get through it this off season. But cool concepts here. High vibrational thinking. He talks about. So that was one of my favorite interviews. The only thing was it was tough. I'll say it out. I apologize right now. The audio on the interview was a little bit rough. We had a tough Skype connection. We tried everything to get that locked in for Steve, but definitely check out the podcast. It's worth a listen either way because the stuff that he goes over is gold. And actually, I was talking to him a little bit after the show, Mike. He was telling me how many PGA Tour pros have locked into this in the last, since it just dropped recently, and some of the guys have just been reaching out to him to get a little bit deeper. He said already 23 tour pros have this in their hands and are starting to get into that because, why not? I mean, even at that level, you're going to look for every bit of an edge you can get. And I tell you, it's been helping me. Some great stories in there. Quick read, little nothing too crazy. You can breeze through this in a couple days, and it's just good stuff and cheap too. I think we linked to it. It was I don't know, $5 on Amazon or something crazy. Yeah. So
I'm not a reader though.
You're the audiobook guy?
I'm a watcher. I'm a books on tape or a video guy.
Yeah, well, it's not out on tape yet, but I'll read it to you. How's that sound?
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Hey, that's a big mug there. What are you
like this? This is one of my birthday presents. This is a golf ball. I'm not going to say shaped, but it's a golf ball mug just filled with, you guessed it,
There it is. I doubt that's all it's in it. Yeah, speaking of which, Mike turned the big 35 this past week, and then we had some blowout party. I mean, that's evidenced
we had fun, man.
This right here. I mean, this is just a portion of it, of what we remember from it anyway. But that was a great time. Great. We had a little chippo going. That's a little fun little game. Playing that. Down the, that was nice fun. Little spot in the house. We were playing that, and then the drinks obviously were flowing. Atlas Premier was awesome. They sponsored, threw us a bunch of great gear. So great time.
Thank you. What did you think of the food? Just curious.
Awesome.
Yeah,
what were those? Mexican what did you have? Yeah, what I don't know what that was. It was like an empanada or something. Those little things. They looked like egg rolls.
They were chimmy. I don't know how to pronounce these things.
And people tore through those so quick.
They did. They were great. Burritos, everything. It was cool. I wanted to do something a little different. This was pretty cool. I had this out on the table, and a lot of people signed it. And I got to read yours here. Hold on a second. This is what I get here. When in doubt, go with the driver. HBD, Frank. Love it, man. Thanks. I'm going to hang this up. I got awesome writings from everyone.
You take that advice to the bank, Mike.
Absolutely.
Take it right to the bank.
And of course, a lot of gifts came in too. So thank all my buddies and everyone who came. That's golf, more golf stuff. Love it.
Pro V1s. No joking around there.
No joking around. I'm a Bridgestone golf ball guy, but I'll take these too as well. No complaints.
Yeah, you start turning down Pro V1s, we know we got a problem.
Right.
All right. So speaking of which, I know you gave us a little bit of rundown, but let's just talk about it real quick. Those Bridgestone wedges. Again, there's your little shot there. That's the big news today. It's been all over the web. Today's the big, the release date as far as the information coming out. We've had them in our hands, testing them for a little while. I know you've been checking them out. What day they drop? I think it's the first week in January, right?
Yeah, first week in January. They'll drop. I said this in the write-up, Frank, that if you don't believe it, and I mean, believe the Bridgestone story. I mean, again, a lot of people, when they walk into a golf store, they kind of just navigate towards the brands they see on TV, the Callaway, the TaylorMade, the Titleist, the Scotty Cameron putters, if they can afford them, things like that. But, I urge you, take a look at Bridgestone. They've got a great lineup. And I'm not like, this isn't a paid endorsement. I'm just telling you, just from playing these wedges, I've been playing the golf ball for years. I love the performance of the golf ball. But go to a Bridgestone fitter at your local golf store and just see if it's for your game, because you'd be surprised. I mean, the research, that's what they thrive on. I met with their team not too long ago in the city. We sat down over coffee, and I was just hearing about what they have coming out. And let me tell you something. There's a reason Tiger plays their balls. There's a reason why guys play their clubs, because, they've got some great stuff. So hats off to these guys for these wedges. I think they're a game changer. And, if you don't believe me, go check them out when they come out in January.
It's such a solid point about Tiger, too, because there's a guy who doesn't need the money. Right. And his real concern right now is playing well. So he's going to pick whatever equipment, you could throw as much money at him as you want to play your equipment. He's got more than he needs. I mean, that's not going to be the deciding factor. So he is going through, and same thing with Rory. We saw Rory do that when he made the switch over to TaylorMade after Nike kind of shut down, operations for their equipment. And it's a real telling story, because it's not like these kind of up and coming guys who are just going to go with whoever throws them the most money. These guys are looking for what's going to help their game the most. And they're really making some changes. I mean, a good example too, we saw Bubba Watson just this last week drop, how do you pronounce it? Volvic? Right. Volvic golf ball, because he lost some distance. So we saw that. It was a big news story. These guys, they're not messing around. So they really are putting the work in, and you can see it. But yeah, Bridgestone, I like seeing that name. I like seeing a little bit new blood, so to speak, in the golf equipment market, instead of seeing the same 2-3 names over and over and over. It forces that innovation. It forces everybody to be a little bit more innovative. So I think that's a really great thing. So I'm looking forward to, you're gonna have to look out next time we play. I might sneak in there and grab those out of your bag.
You should.
I want to give them a try, and I want to check them out, because they look great, and all the buzz that we've heard this last day or two has been big. As far as news goes, a lot of little things going on. Nothing too crazy because we see the season kind of winding down. This week is going to be the last event on the PGA Tour. Other than we have the Hero World Challenge, which I want to talk about in 1 minute. But let's just talk about this because going on a little bit across the pond, this is not quite over yet. We have the European Tour. We've got them wrapping up what it's almost like their FedEx Cup playoffs. But one big absent name we saw, Henrik Stenson. I want to get your take on this because he ended up. This was a little stunt, promotional stunt that they did before the WGC a couple of weeks ago over in China, and they had him hooked up, as you can see there, a little flying around Superman type of thing. And then he made a comment later saying, "I guess I'm no Superman." Ended up injuring a rib, and he was out for I think he missed two events because of that. So interesting. I mean, I'll give you a quick rundown timer here, Mike. Let's give you the 1 minute to get your take on this.
What's the debate? Whether he should have done it or not? Because I don't know. Do these guys get paid to do these little stunts?
You know what? It depends. Sometimes I think it's in their contract that they have to do a certain amount. Sometimes they do them to help promote the tour. But in general, I mean, what do you think? Do you think these guys should get involved in these things, or should they just steer clear of everything?
I mean, these guys are in pretty darn good shape. You know what I mean? Head to toe. Yeah. I mean, if it's dangerous, I'd say something like that. I mean, maybe not. But, for the shape that a lot of these guys are in, but then again, anything can happen to anybody. So what happened? It was just too tight and just pulled on his rib and he just couldn't swing a club for 2 weeks. I mean, perhaps. It makes, when it comes down to tampering with your tool here that you use to make a living, maybe you steer clear from something like that. I don't know. I wouldn't, if I was a professional musician, I wouldn't do things that would harm my hands or whatever, same deal. So, yeah. I know DJ did it too. A bunch of guys did it. They were fine, right?
Yeah, they were. And look, accidents happen at the end of the day. We remember, what was it now? It's been a little while, maybe a year ago. Remember we had Gary Player on the podcast? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I remember him talking a little bit about how some guys are getting a little bit too, the other way where they're, or you could say it's, they're contractually obligated to keep themselves incredibly healthy or whatever it may be. But I think at the time it was one of the guys on tour wasn't playing a pickup basketball game because he didn't want to get injured or whatever. And that's where we saw Gary Player just saying a little bit of something to the effect of saying, in his day, these guys would just do everything, do their own stunts, so to speak.
Right.
So I think it's just walking a fine line. You never know. Who knows that you're going to get injured in something like that.
Remember Rory
I don't
blew
think
his
it's a
knee
big
out?
deal overall.
Playing soccer. He was out for 6 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Same deal.
Look, you're a professional athlete. I understand your sponsors rely on you to be out there. I understand those things, but you also have to live your life a little bit. I don't think you can put yourself in a glass box in between events, between Monday and Wednesday, put yourself in a glass box. It's not going to do anything for you. So It happened. I didn't think Stenson was particularly upset about it. Obviously missing some time, but nothing too crazy beyond that. So it was just interesting. I wanted to get your take on it and see what you thought.
Yeah, I love the news that comes out of our writers on Golficity because this is stuff that I just don't get to read on the regular. So, I love seeing this stuff come across. We've had a ton of stories come out recently, and we talked about them actually last week on live about the girl with the high school trophy and stuff like that. So this is where I get my golf news. I love it. It's great. So keep these stories coming at me.
Hey, Mike, I'm just checking out these comments here. I don't know whether this is directed at you or me, but the mustache. It's
got to be mine.
Hey, it's Movember, right?
I'm growing it out, man. Let me tell you something. This is short. I trimmed this. I took this down.
Yours excuse. It's Movember.
Yeah.
This is just from this morning. This is
yeah, that's right.
I got to keep a razor on me all the time. But yeah, so anyway, that was one thing I want to get your take on. The other thing I want to get your take on is this, the Hero World Challenge. Obviously, that's something that everybody's talking about right now because it's coming up really soon. And obviously, Tiger playing, that's the big news. But we talked about before ratings and how much it changes with Tiger. A big indicator of that and evidence and proof of that is that they've added, I think it was Golf Channel has added an extra hour of coverage on every day just because Tiger is going to be playing in it. What does that tell you?
Yeah. I know.
Everybody's psyched.
I would watch Tiger if he was on Supermarket Sweep or Dancing with the Stars. It doesnn't matter. If Tiger's there, I'm watching it because I've grown up watching him. I'm a fan.
Over under on Tiger being on Dancing with the Stars sometime in the next 5 years.
He'll probably get hurt and withdraw.
From
I can see that happening. He doesn't want to miss the cut or get voted off, so he'll withdraw. But there's a name you could see on that show. Why not?
Why not? Yeah. So you're saying this is a real burn we got here going here. So you're saying if the scores don't come in well in the first round, you might just see
WD big time.
Yeah, I think we might see the same type of thing. So we'll see.
That's great.
But anyway, let's wrap it up because we've got another podcast to record today. Remember, like I said, tune in every week on iTunes, also Spreaker, Stitcher, even YouTube, new episodes every week of the Golf Podcast. We've got more interviews coming up. We're going to be talking fitness. We're going to be talking a lot of off-season stuff because, Mike, let's just be honest, where we are, it's cold as hell outside. So we got to find some ways to bring the game inside. I actually saw a really good article on Golficity today by Eric Brenzenberg. He mentioned one thing that I thought was a great tip that we kind of overlook. And he just talked about the value of the offseason as being such a critical time for you to improve your game. I think it's a great way of looking at it because how many times do we not look at it like that? We look at it like, totally different. We look at it like, oh, this is the time we're going to be missing out and that type of thing. So that's where I think it's an important thing. So anyway, be sure to check that out. Check it out. Like I said, iTunes, just search the Golf Podcast, Golficity, and you'll be able to find that. All right. We'll see everybody again next week, Golficity Live.